Over 400 million cans of condensed milk are consumed every year. But very few people really understand how this product is actually made. In today's video, we will take a look at how condensed milk is actually made. The making of condensed milk begins the same way as any dairy product, on the farm. Raw milk is collected fresh from dairy cows. There are thousands of dairy farms across the world, but countries like the United States, India, China, and Brazil are among the top producers. In the US alone, there are over 26,000 dairy farms, and many of them contribute to the milk supply used by condensed milk factories. Once the milk is collected, it's brought to a processing plant, usually in large tanker trucks. These trucks keep the milk cool during the journey to keep it fresh. When the milk arrives at the factory, it doesn't go straight into the can. First, it's clarified, which basically means it's filtered to remove any impurities or solid bits like dirt or stray hair that might have slipped in during milking. After that, it's standardized. This just means adjusting the fat and protein levels to get a consistent product. Different recipes call for different balances, but usually factories aim for a specific fat to solid not fat ratio. This makes sure every can of condensed milk tastes the same, no matter where or when it's made. Next, the milk is heated to about 85 to 90 degrees Celsius, or 185 to 194 degrees Fahrenheit for a few seconds. This step serves a few purposes. First, it kills off most bacteria and microorganisms that could spoil the milk. Second, it helps prevent the fat from separating later. And third, it stops oxidation, which can affect flavor and shelf life. Heating milk reduces oxidation by inactivating enzymes like lipoxygenase, which catalyze fat oxidation. Heat also denatures proteins that can bind metals, limiting their pro-oxidant activity. Additionally, heating destroys microorganisms that may promote oxidative spoilage. This thermal treatment, often through a process similar to pasteurization, slows down the degradation of fats and nutrients, thereby preserving milk's flavor, quality, and shelf life. This isn't quite the same as full pasteurization or sterilization, but it gets the milk ready for the next big step. Now comes the part that gives condensed milk its name: removing milk. Milk naturally contains a lot of water, so factories use large vacuum evaporators to pull out about 60% of that water content. These machines heat the milk under low pressure, which makes the water evaporate at a lower temperature. This helps keep the milk from scorching or tasting cooked. What's left is a much thicker, more concentrated milk, kind of like cream, but sweeter. It gives the milk the freshness and thickness that most of us enjoy. Now it's time to add the sugar. Factories add enough sucrose, which is the plain old table sugar, to reach a sugar-to-milk ratio of about 9 to 11. That's almost equal parts, which explains why condensed milk is so sweet and sticky. But the sugar isn't just there for flavor, it's also a natural preservative, which is why a highly refined sucrose is generally used. This sugar isn't readily fermented, enabling it to inhibit the growth of bacteria when present in solution, such as the condensed milk. After the sugar is added, the mixture is stirred and cooled. This part is what really gives condensed milk its signature thick, sweet, almost dessert-like taste. In factories, they don't just toss in a spoonful or two of sugar. They add enough sucrose, which is just regular table sugar, to make up about a 9 to 11 sugar-to-milk ratio. That's nearly equal parts milk and sugar. And yeah, that's a lot of sugar. But it's not just there to make it taste like a treat. There's a real science behind it. See, the sugar plays a huge role in keeping the milk from going bad. It acts as a natural preservative. When you dump that much sugar into a liquid like milk, it creates something called osmotic pressure. If you are not into science, that should sound complicated, but here's what it means in simple terms. The high sugar content draws out water from any microbes, like bacteria or mold, that try to live in the milk. Without water, those tiny troublemakers can't grow. so the milk stays safe to eat for months, even years, without needing to be kept cold. This is why condensed milk can sit on a shelf in a can, perfectly fine, long after fresh milk would have turned into something sour and scary. It's a pretty brilliant solution when you think about it, especially for a time before refrigerators were a thing. After the sugar is added, the milk mixture gets stirred continuously to make sure everything blends smoothly. You don't want sugar clumps floating around, and you definitely don't want it to burn. It's all about maintaining that silky, uniform texture. Once the sugar has completely dissolved and the mixture is just the right thickness, it goes through a cooling phase. Cooling is important because it helps set the consistency. If you cooled it too fast or too slow, the texture could turn grainy or lumpy. Nobody wants that. Factories have it down to a science. They use cooling tanks that gradually bring the temperature down so that the condensed milk becomes that rich, velvety product we all know. Sometimes lactose crystallization is carefully controlled so that the finished product has a smooth texture. Nobody wants gritty condensed milk. Once cooled, it's ready for canning. The thick milk is poured into sterilized cans, which are then sealed and labeled. The whole process is super clean, controlled, and efficient. Modern factories can produce millions of cans a day. Some of the world's largest producers of condensed milk include companies like Nestle, which is the absolute giant in the condensed milk world. Nestle's Milkmaid and Carnation brands are household names in many countries. Their factories in Brazil, India, the US, and Europe produce tons of condensed milk every year. Then we have Friesland Campina, a Dutch company that's also one of the biggest in Europe. They make condensed milk under several brands for both consumers and food manufacturers. Don't forget F&N, a company based in Singapore. F&N produces condensed and evaporated milk that's especially popular across Southeast Asia. Together, these and other companies produce billions of cans each year. In fact, it's estimated that over 2.5 billion cans of sweetened condensed milk are sold around the world every year. That's enough for almost one can for every 3 people on Earth. To keep up with this demand, millions of dairy cows are hard at work. It's impossible to count exactly how many go into condensed milk specifically, but globally, there are over 270 million dairy cows. A portion of their milk, after other needs like fresh milk, cheese, and yogurt, gets directed into making condensed milk. So, what's the impact of condensed milk on our daily lives? It's hard to overstate. Condensed milk started as a practical solution to spoilage, but over time, it became a favorite ingredient in desserts, drinks, and baking across the globe. Whether it's drizzled over fresh fruit, blended into Thai iced tea, baked into key lime pie, or whipped into fudge, condensed milk brings rich sweetness to the table. In many countries, especially in Asia and Latin America, it's not just an ingredient, it's part of the culture. In Vietnam, it's the star of iced coffee with milk. In Mexico, it's a key part of trelocs cake. And in the Philippines, it's used in everything from leech flan to festive fruit salads. Condensed milk, now a beloved staple in kitchens around the world, originated in the 1800s as a revolutionary solution to a serious problem: the lack of reliable milk preservation. Before refrigeration, fresh milk spoiled quickly, leading to illness and limited access to dairy. The invention of condensed milk provided a safe, shelf-stable alternative that could be transported and stored with ease. Over time, its rich, sweet flavor and long shelf life made it a favorite in households globally. Condensed milk has made its way into households across generations. It's affordable, easy to use, and can sit in your pantry until you need a dessert boost. It's comfort food in a can, and it's helped people stretch ingredients, preserve milk, and satisfy a sweet tooth in one go. So the next time you see that little can on the grocery shelf, remember, behind it is a whole system of farms, factories, and history. And somehow, despite being over 150 years old, condensed milk has never gone out of style. That's all for today, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button to stay updated on our latest content.